All right, today's Dungeons and Dragons character that we're going to roll is a commissioned character for Blake. And Blake wanted a character that he could take to the table and play in a normal games of Dungeons and Dragons, but he also wanted something that he could play in Baldur's Gate 3. So I put together a few dice specific to that'll help us out. But I am also going to roll the alignment die. So even though Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't include that, that's something he can include in a real life game or even influence his decisions for that Baldur's Gate character if he wants to. All right. So we have for a character a chaotic evil half-elf monk, and your background is that of an urchin. So Blake wants everything to get his character set up. So we're going to roll for the subclass, and we have, let's see, a 2. That's going to get us the Way of the Four Elements. Okay, and let's roll for subrace. Okay, we got a half-elf drow. And now let's add some flavor. Keeping in line with our urchin theme, you are very young, but also very large, tall for your age, with green eyes and a distinguishing mark on your neck, whether that's a scar or birthmark or tattoo. You come from the mountains to the west, and you tend to hold your emotions inside, and if you're not careful, you can just explode with those emotions. But if you're in a tight situation, you kind of become rather smarmy and smart-alecky. You definitely talk a lot more, which is interesting because you're quiet most of the time, but it seems in combat, that's when you're the most comfortable and that Spider-Man energy kind of comes out. You carry with you a magic potion that you don't understand, but it's a blue glass bottle containing a liquid stone that's cool to the touch, but you're not sure what it does, and you're kind of afraid to find out. Your work is mostly with that of a religious order, and it hasn't made you much money at all in your time with them. And you are on a quest for freedom. Okay, let's roll for some stats here. So we have a 17, a 13, a 12, a 17. Oh, you're kidding me. A 17 and a 7. Okay. I don't know how that's going to work in the game. I've heard it only lets you input things up to 15. So you can at least get the highest for, max out the stats where you want. But that's an incredible roll. Let's re-roll the lowest. 12. All right. Okay, and let's give our half-elf a name. And we're going to call you Bellafor Madfists. And this was a really good roll. Again, we have a story in itself right here, just from the die roll. Bellafor, you, of course, as your background depicts, began your life as an urchin without a family living on the streets. Now, we have the die connecting you to religion in some way. I'm going to say you were taken in by a cult. You didn't know it at the time. It was just this group, this organization that welcomed you in, made you feel like you belonged there. And later on in your life, you found out you're indoctrinated. They have this belief, this goal that they're working towards, and you have been a part of that. Now, the organization that you belong to, the true name is really only known by those at the highest level. But those in the lower levels, like yourself, and the people on the streets who are aware of it, know it as the Cult of the Seven Deaths. And the belief is that there are individuals throughout time who interact with the energy of the universe in a improper way that does not allow for proper balance and only for taking. And unfortunately, their life must be ended for this energy, this balance, to return to the universe. Now, again, you in the lower levels of this cult don't really have a sound idea of what's going to happen when that seventh death occurs. There is talk that it will usher in a new heaven on earth utopia for all who still exist, while others say it will conclude the universe's business and all time and all things will come to an end. And as of right now, the cult has documented that 6 official deaths have taken place and only 1 remains. You don't know when it's been prophesized that will happen or who this individual is. And you really don't care. You just want that 7th person found so you can be done with this group and live a life that you want to live. Until one night you hear whispers coming from the cult's inner sanctum. Whispers saying that the seventh person has been found, and your blood goes cold as you hear your name. And so in the middle of the night you flee, taking what little belongings you have with you. The reach of the cult runs far, so you will have to run farther. Perhaps you will find sanctuary along the Sword Coast. And while you hide, you think about how you can find a way to convince this cult that they were mistaken, that you are not the real target. To do this, you must show them the error of their ways and produce the real target. How will you convince them that someone else is deserving of the seventh death? And how will you pick that person? And now it's my favorite part to do the reveal of that sweet art by Scott Milton. Let's see what he put together for you. Blake, I love how this character came out. I love the background story. I'm so happy we invented a cult. Again, thank you for your commission. I hope this character provides you with a lot of joy as you play Baldur's Gate and when you bring them to the actual table for some in real life D&D. So thanks so much and happy role playing.